Story yako ya contraception ni gani?
So I was in a fairly long relationship with this guy, and when I started dating him, I wasn't interested in having kids in the near future. So I figured I might as well try contraception because, as much as I was using condoms, sometimes the condom breaks or you're in a rush and you forget to put on one. All these shenanigans. So I figured maybe I could try contraception, and this was the first time I was trying contraception in my entire life. I had never put in contraceptives of any kind. Now, in my search for a contraceptive that would work, I sought advice from a pharmacist that was working in a nearby pharmacy to where I was staying at. And this pharmacist told me that I could use the depot injections. The depot injections ni zile zenye huwekwa hapa kwa mkono. Unadungwa hapa kwa mkono, and they go for about 200 to 250 web, and they last you 3 months. So after every 3 months you have to come back and renew the injection. I thought this was a great idea, so I was on depot. After that, I talked to my friend, one of my friends, about it. She was also a neighbor, and told her about it, and she told me she had also been on depot, and she actually told me bluntly that had I spoken to her sooner, she would have told me not to go for that option. Reason being, it took quite some time before she could get pregnant after getting off the contraceptive. So she tried for about 1 year and she could not get pregnant, and it was starting to kind of frustrate her. So she told me she would not advise me to go the depot way. Anyway, so I was on depot for about 3.5 years, and then finally I decided to drop it. Not because I was looking to get pregnant or anything. I just figured, for my health case, or just to be on the healthy side of things, I can maybe take a detox and see how it works. Now, looking back at the story my friend had told me, I kid myself that I had 1 year to just go filanga free, That's what I told myself. So I told myself I had 1 year to just go filanga free and enjoy this thing, zero pressure. The thing is, I was with this one partner for quite some time, so it really didn't occur to me that it would have been an issue. Anyway, so 6 months after I dropped depot, I got pregnant. But now I didn't know that I was pregnant. This is how I found out I was pregnant. One morning, I'm sleeping, yeah? At 5 a.m., I remember this very, very well. At 5 a.m., I was woken up by a sharp pain in my abdomen area. And this is not the kind of pain Kamaya periods. This is just out of this world kind of pain. It was so bad. It's the kind of pain that makes you feel like you're about to pass out. It's the kind of pain that makes you throw up. I was numb from my waist down, couldn't move my legs for shit. I was in that much pain. Like nikijaribu kuwinsi kidogo, pain. It woke me up at 5 a.m. and I was screaming into my pillow. That's how bad it was. At the time, I was living on my own. So there was really not anyone else in the house that could help me out, you get? So I called this man that I was seeing. Thankfully, he didn't stay too far from where I was staying. I told him that I wasn't feeling well, that he should come and help me get to hospital. So he rushed, came, got me dressed, called a cab, and took me to hospital. So on getting to hospital, it was so bad that I wasn't even sitting in the waiting area. I was immediately taken to emergency. On getting to emergency, 2 doctors came to check me out, spoke to me, asked me how I was feeling. This whole time, I'm in pain, screaming, crying, throwing up. It was chaotic. This man was literally shaking. The guy I was dating, he was literally shaking in his boots. Like, what? He had never seen me like this before, and we had been together for quite some time. I had been sick in the duration of that relationship, but not like this. Nothing like this. So the doctors spoke to me, asked me how I was feeling, and then they took a few blood samples, went and did tests. They came back 2 hours later. Mind you, this entire time, I'm still in pain. And now the only thing that's trying to ease it is when I fall asleep. When I try to fall asleep, at least itapungua kiasi, but not completely gone. So this guy would try and get me to fall asleep. He'd try to get me to drink water, eat something. But anytime I put something in my mouth, I throw up. So finally, they come back with the test results and they tell me that I have an ectopic pregnancy. At the time, I really didn't have a good grasp as to what an ectopic pregnancy was. An ectopic pregnancy is basically when the fertilized egg implants itself on your fallopian tube instead of the uterus wall like it should. So this egg was developing in my fallopian tube and not my uterus. And the pain that I was feeling was from the rupture of my fallopian tube. So the egg had grown to the point of rupturing my fallopian tube, basically. And I was bleeding internally. So they told me that I needed emergency surgery and that if I waited too long, I could go into shock because of the internal bleeding, which would eventually lead to death. So we were working against time. I had to work really, really fast. So I called my folks, told them what was going on, came to hospital, and I was referred to now the hospital that would get me the surgery, yeah? So I got to the hospital, straight into emergency. They took in my case very seriously, actually. Got me prepped, went into surgery, got the surgery done. Now, after I was coming out of surgery, or rather waking up, I was now explained to what had happened, and they told me that they had to get rid of the ruptured fallopian tube, and that of course goes with the ovary. So as we speak, I am one fallopian tube less, but they told me that the other fallopian tube and ovary would work just as well as this other one would have. So there was really nothing to worry about. Thank God. God is really an artist when you think about it. So yeah. That, my friends, is my contraception story. I really wouldn't advise anyone to get on contraception. If you can, please, please, please use condoms. I really would not advise you to get on contraception. Personally, I'm not looking into contraceptives anytime soon. I am not going back. I will stick to condoms. I have learned my lesson the hard way, and I had to learn so that you didn't.